Wheat Nation, what's going on? Sharc here, back with another video. And in today's video, what I'll be reading is that this is actually episode 1 of reading the manga for One Piece, which I've never read before. And to just be as devoted as possible, because I'm not a quitter, I decided to buy it. It cost like $13 online. I knew I could have just gone on the website, the website, and I could have read it. But I feel like when you buy a book, you're kind of committed to actually read it. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, this is about 600 pages, if I'm not 600 and about 10 pages, if I'm not being, what's the word I'm looking for, if I'm being honest rather. And I don't find any section of this that was extremely boring. And I must say, disclaimer, as I said, I'm not a manga reader, first time ever reading a manga, and I am not reading it because, oh, I bought the book. I'm reading it because I'm genuinely interested. And I'm going to be giving you like a play-by-play. I even wrote my notes. I have my book right here with my notes. Granted, the notes aren't that much because everything is off the top of my head. But at the end of the day, I still had like a few key talking points that I wanted to talk about. I'm going to be reviewing Romance Dawn today. That's the first volume of One Piece. I know you have the different sagas and you have the volumes inside of the saga. But I think the East Blue Saga would be about 12 volumes. It'd be from volume 1 to volume 12, and this is volume 1 to volume 3. So I was thinking that, hey, considering that it said that the arc Romance Dawn would be volumes 1, and then Orange Town would be volumes 2 and 3. So I'd probably read this, make the 2 videos for that, and then continuously after every single not volume, but after every single I'd say impactful story, I make a review, and then when I'm finished, I can probably make like a summary video for each arc. Tell me if that's what you guys want. I don't know. Maybe there won't even be anybody watching it, and that's fine. But I'm still gonna do it, just for the commitment. I don't know how many books, how many volumes I'll go through, but I genuinely got the book yesterday, the day before, and I read the first volume quickly, and it was 210 pages, and it was just a masterpiece. Like, first of all, I had to get used to actually reading it the other way. As I said, this is Japanese culture. Apparently they read from like the right to the left, whereas, in Jamaica or like regular books, we read from the left to the right, So that was like a culture shock, and then I had to figure out like how the panels were, So it's like top right, top left, top, bottom right, bottom left, and I had to follow that. But I must say that Eiichiro Oda, who is the author of the book, I feel like he's forming like a connection, and the reason why I say that is because when you actually like look at or read the book, there's so many talking points at the side. Like, he gives a lot of guidelines, he gives a lot of stories, he gives a lot of rants on it, that even like the different designs that he had planned for certain characters and it didn't come to fruition, like Captain Morgan, who we're going to speak about in a bit, is just, I don't know, it's just so amazing. I feel like I'm a part of a journey and I barely even started, and I just feel as if, just follow me. I'm sorry, I'm a bit of a ranter. That's why I decided to do per volume-ish, because at the end of the day, I feel like there's so much to say about each. Like, I just don't want to miss out any key points, and I feel like I'll still miss out key points. But the story is about a guy named Monkey Luffy, right? Monkey D. Luffy, specifically. And as you can see by the picture, you can see that he has a straw hat, which is very important based on the first volume, based off the first chapter. So we actually cover volume 1, I think, covers between chapters 1 to chapters 8, which is very important. So we're going to get into it right now. Basically, at the start, they gave this backstory, right? They started off with a backstory, which is 10 years before the present day. They're showing us this guy named Monkey Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy. He actually started off by, he wanted to be a pirate. He had this idol, essentially, this pirate that he looked up to. His name is Shanks, red-haired Shanks. Funny enough, he has the straw hat, so there has to be some part in the story that either he gets a similar straw hat or Shanks gives him the straw hat. And you'd think that usually how it goes is that, you have an idol or a master, and then the master dies and you get the straw hat. But I'm happy to say that Shanks doesn't die. I hope he doesn't die later on in the story, but he hasn't died to this. But started off with a nice backstory, which was very good to read. I can't lie, it gave like a lot of premise, even though it didn't give many names. I'd say it only gave maybe 5 names, which was Monkey D. Luffy, red-haired Shanks, Igarum the bear, that's the mountain bandit, Makino, it gave the town mayor, but that's really it. And it started off in a bar. Well, it started off on top of a ship where he was basically saying that he's tough. He wants to be a pirate. Shanks is saying, hey, the seas is tough. You know what I'm saying? The seas is tough, and I don't. He's basically saying, hey, you're not ready for it, which is like good. But this brazen young man says, hey, I am tough. Stabs himself in the eye to show them that he is very tough. As an act of like, hey, I can handle it. Little does Luffy know that he actually can't. But fine, the mere fact that you're fearless in the moment to do that, that's very important, right? So they move on to the bar. You know, they're kind of nursing his cut and they say, I can't believe you did that. Shanks is kind of ridiculing him, which is pretty fun. It's pretty funny to actually read, you know, especially considering that with the manga, it's like, it leaves so much to your imagination that you're like, you're playing the scene in your head, that I can imagine that. Now I know why people said that the anime is so long, because just based off of that flashback alone, I know I could get at least 2 episodes properly out of that flashback. You know what I'm saying? And even then I'd still be asking for more, because this flashback kind of have me asking for more all the same regardless. So anyway, we get into the nitty gritty of it now. They're in the bar, they're chilling. He's like, oh, he wants to be a fearless pirate. Shanks is like, hey, you cannot even swim. Which, you know, if you're on the sea, the least you need to know how to do is to swim. Luffy can't swim. So Shanks, he's like, oh, I can learn how to swim, whatever the case may be. Cool. They're in the bar. You know, as I said, Makino, she's the barkeeper. These bandits come in, because you know pirates kind of dock at this different places and kind of, I don't know if they raid, I don't know if they buy stuff, I don't know what it is, but I don't know what the presidents was in this, but they were basically in the bar drinking, enjoying themselves, having fun. They seem kind of harmless, you know, but usually it's the people that seem harmless that are actually the most dangerous. So this guy named Igaram and the Bear come in, very macho, very, what's what I'm looking for, very intimidating. He came in and he's like, oh, we're mountain bandits, we want some ale. But Makina is like, hey, she doesn't have any more. Shanks realizes what's going on, because Igaram the Bear asked, also, what are these guys drinking, water then? Shanks, as the guy that he is, very nice it seems, he's like, hey, I didn't realize that this was the last one. We have an unopened bottle here that you can use. Igaram literally takes the bottle and smashes it in Shanks' head. Now, most people would, you know, start a fight, you know, that would start a whole war, and some people get hurt and whatever. He literally apologized. Shanks apologized to Makino, which kind of showed his character. It's kind of making me like this Shanks person, and I don't know him, you know, like I don't know him. So that's why I said it's so much to flesh out, because now I have Shanks and his crew as like good pirates, and in real life, technically, you're not supposed to have good pirates, because pirates are supposedly supposed to be evil person. Fairs, you know, but you have this liking for Shanks and his crew. Basically, he felt offended and he called them cowards and whatever the case may be. Igaram came out of the bar, cussed off Shanks basically. Shanks and his crewmates start laughing after each other. Luffy's pissed. Luffy's like, how dare you allow these people to do this and do that? And he's this brazen person who believes that you're not supposed to be embarrassed, you're supposed to always be fighting. He wants to basically always go gung-ho. You know, he's literally been practicing his punches. He said that his punches are like pistols, which is actually quite interesting. But we'll get to that later. I'm sorry for all of these get to that later thing. But basically, you know, Luffy's like, oh, he's actually disappointed in them and he can't believe that he ever thought that they were actually gonna be like, they're actually good pirates and whatever the case may be, blah, 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 blah. Shanks and his crew left, and basically what happened is that, you know, Shanks was basically saying, hey, you have to understand this. Well, not Shanks and his crew. Luffy was talking to Makino, and Makino told him that, hey, sometimes knowing when not to fight is actually the bravest thing to do. Luffy didn't really understand that. You get me? He didn't understand that, but I feel as if, considering that this is in the past, 10 years before, he's going to eventually know it, and he's going to make him better, because some people, especially, you know, when you're way better than them, way stronger than them, you don't need to fight them. You don't need to do things to them. You get me? So just allow them to do it. Unless they hurt you or hurt one of your friends, you don't need to do anything. Long story short, Luffy sees these bandits another day, but Shanks and his crew weren't there yet. They weren't on the island. They weren't at the dock or whatever the case may be. Basically, they came back into the bar again. They were drinking the ale. They started teasing Shanks, and Luffy is somebody who literally stands up for his his crewmates or stands up for his friends, even though he was mad at Shanks and his crew, because I don't know any of their names, I just know Shanks. But there's this really cool one with a cigarette, and then there's this really fat one that's always eating meat. I have a feeling that considering that they show them so much, they're probably going to be important, and we're probably going to learn their names eventually. But even throughout the entire volume, I still didn't learn their names. Only Shanks. Anyway, basically, Luffy got in a fight with them because he's like, hey, whatever. Oh, and I forgot to mention, in that same bar that Luffy was cussing them off, I'm all over the place. He was cussing off Shanks. He ended up eating a fruit, which was actually apparently a devil fruit, something that's born off of some tree that it gives you powers, but the only caveat to it is that you now can't swim. So before he couldn't swim, but now he definitely can't swim because it's like the seawater makes you extremely weak. And Shanks is saying, hey, now you're even more dead weight. You know what I'm saying? You're even more dead weight. You were dead weight before, I know you're even more dead weight. This is why I don't want you under, but he has the ability of like, what's the word I'm looking for? He has the ability of robust to stretch and all of that lovely stuff. It's called the gum fruit. Okay. Very interesting. We always knew he was going to be the rubber man anyway, because, everybody always talks about One Piece and, you see, whatever. But, whatever. He's fighting, basically, Luffy ain't strong enough to fight these bandits. The bandit, he's worth $8 million. I don't know if that's a lot. But $8 million in real life is a lot. But, I don't know if that's a lot in the world of One Piece. Maybe somebody worth $1 billion, maybe somebody worth 200 million, I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, basically what was being said is that they were holding him hostage, they were kind of beating him, they were about to kill him. Shanks and his crew came to rescue him, which this was interesting though. This was when I got hyped up, I can't even lie to you, because when they were there, I'd say, because the bandits had them as cowards, when Shanks came and said, hey, you can throw ale on me, you can do this to me, you can do that to me, I don't care. But when you threaten one of my friends, you best come correct, because we're gonna, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna. So anyway, that's when I got hyped. Like, I had to reread that part. I was like, whoa. I was like, okay, maybe Shanks ain't this weak person, and we're gonna get this kind of thing where Shanks gets killed by somebody and Luffy has to avenge him. You know what I'm saying? I was like, wow, Shanks might actually be tough. All of a sudden, like, he pointed a gun at Shanks, one of the bandits, and Shanks was like, now that you've done this, like, you shouldn't be pointing pistols at people or some foolishness like that. And I think the fat one that always has the meat, still, I still learn his name eventually. He shot the man, and you're like, oh, this is not fair. You're supposed to be fair. Shanks is like, hey, we're pirates. We're pirates. And then the second guy with the cigarette, bro, I'm telling you see these fight scenes, they're leaving so much to the imagination. Cause the second one with the cigarette, he's like, don't worry, Cap, I got this. You know what I'm saying? I got this. And he literally started putting boot to ass. He was whipping everybody in that situation. I'm telling you. I was just like, we haven't even started One Piece yet. We're still in the 10-year flashback. And this is what you're telling me. Like, this is amazing. Like, I'm just like, what in the world is this? Like, I'm just like, I haven't even started as it. And I've seen so much action. Now, I have a few questions. Because now, Igaram the Bear realized that it's just him alone. He does a smoke bomb. Gets away. They start searching for Luffy. They realize that he's in the water. He's holding Luffy as captive. And then because now he's escaped, because he said that nobody would expect a mountain bandit, which I assume lives in the mountain, to be in the sea. He threw Luffy in the water. And then this big creature, I think Luffy called it a sea creature. This creature came up and ate him and the boat, and then started going off of Luffy. Mind you, Luffy's there drowning, and like the sound effects, or rather the sound effects that are drawn, bro, I'm imagining everything. Like, I'm reading and I'm just like, it's like I'm watching, like, you see, if I watch the anime and the anime isn't as this, I'm sorry. I just, anyway, I'm joking. But anyway, this alone could have been 2-3 episodes. I'm going to be completely honest with you. And you're probably going to be like, oh, why would you take so many episodes just to do a backstory? Bro, I'm telling you. You see, when you start reading, like, the manga, you're imagining so much. Like, I feel like I've already done 20 episodes. And I've only done one flipping volume, which is, 200 odd pages. Anyway, basically what happens after that is, before the beast could get to, or the creature could get to Luffy, Shanks saves him. And he does something that confused me, because he looked at the beast like a wicked stare and said, "Get away!" Like, and like when the Rock raises his eyebrow, and and he looked at the beast like 2 times, or like a hard stare, and the beast got scared. This big everlasting beast got scared. Like the beast is like a whale basically with sharp teeth and whatever the case may be, and he got scared and swam away. So it's like in my head I'm just like, Shanks might be one of the most OP characters ever. Does he have some sort of power that like, is it like a power of intimidation? Is it like a power of like might? You know what I'm saying? And there's another thing that I have a question for, because it turns out Luffy was crying, Shanks' arm got bitten off. Why wasn't bro feeling like his arm got bitten off? Was it adrenaline, or was it like, is it that One Piece characters can switch limbs like nothing? Because in Naruto, where you just the Uchihas were just taking out eyes and putting them in back, transplanting, they swapping. What's his name? Madara just grab Kakashi eye like nothing, or Sasuke eye like. I'm not seeing, like, your arm just got bitten off and you just seem so casual with it, Anyway, days passed. Shanks said, hey, he's never coming back here because he feels like he's been here too long, or whatever the case may be. I low-key feel like Shanks and Makino have something, because the way how Makino talks about him, he might have something with her. But if this is his last time, maybe he'll have a baby with her or something. Or, I don't know. I don't think it's his last time coming here. Come on, man. But anyway, maybe that's why it's his last time coming here, because he found somebody that he cared for, and as a pirate, you're not supposed to have anybody that you care for, because then even though you're on the seas, maybe somebody can hurt you in ways that you can't really, they can hold one of your family members hostage. Maybe I'm looking into it too deep. As I said, I feel like I just overthink everything and overanalyze, but you can let me know in the comment sections without spoiling it too tough, please. There's no spoiling, I'm begging you. Just listen to the review on call today. Anyway, so we continue the story. This is like the end when Shanks and his crew are docking. They're like, Luffy says, I no longer want to come with you guys. I'm gonna train, or I'm gonna train up, and I'm gonna get my own crew, and I'm gonna be the best pirate, and I'm gonna be the king of the pirates, or something like that. And then Shanks was like, king of the pirates. Okay, because we actually, the first page that started this whole manga was wealth, power, fame. These are all the treasures I leave. Gold Roger was on the chopping block basically. His head was about to be chopped off. Apparently, he is apparently the king of the pirates. He's the one who has or found the One Piece. Because I just assume it's a treasure. He's the one who found the One Piece. And he basically started this whole pirate era. So I don't know, because now I have a lot of questions. Is it that Luffy heard, because Luffy couldn't have been alive when Roger was alive, right? So let's go from the premise that he wasn't alive. Is it that Luffy heard about Roger, like the speech that he had about him wanting to be king of the pirates, or did Luffy just get up one day and say, hey, I want to be king of the pirates? Because from what I'm seeing, I've only seen one set of pirates the entire show so far, or the entire manga so far, which would be Shanks and his crew. I didn't hear any of them talking about being king of the pirates. And, the mayor is talking about how he doesn't want any pirates come from this village because it would shame the village and blah, 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 whatever. So, sorry, it leaves me to question, like, how did he know to say the same thing or something similar to what Roger said? Maybe the news spread. I don't know. Maybe I'm looking into it too deep. So Shanks gave him the straw hat. So that kind of confirmed the theory that I had earlier. At least he didn't die to give him. He gave up an arm to give him. But he said an arm is nothing to sacrifice for a friend. Which, hey, that's admirable, bro. But it's an arm. You get me? Like, anyway, we move on. 10 years, fast forward 10 years, Luffy set out to sail, this is like a big comeback. Apparently he was training, whatever. He set out in his little boat with his little stuff. The people are kind of cheering him on. They're like, oh my God, he's going to set out for real. He said that he's going to go get, I think, 9 or 10 crewmates, yada, yada, yeah, the works. And it's just so cute. It's just so cool because he sets out, and it's a full circle moment, because that same sea creature that Shanks kind of got rid of last time, he came back, and Luffy said, hey, I've been practicing for you, bro. And I have something for you. And this is why I say it's a full circle moment, because remember Luffy said to Shanks that his punches are like pistols. He said, and I quote, he put his hand back, swing all the way back, because it's rubber, elasticity. He said, gum gum, pistol. And he one-shot that flipping sea creature, sea beast, which makes me think that Luffy is OP right now, because if Igarum the bear couldn't do that, and Luffy could do that, that means Luffy low-key right now is stronger than wherever Igarum the bear was before he died 10 years ago. So that's already set him to a certain level. Obviously, it's not Shanks' level, of course, because Shanks said, give me back this straw hat when you become a successful pirate, when you become a great pirate. He's nowhere close to that, because he needs the crew members and he needs the experience in the seas. You get me? He needs the experience in the seas. But yeah, basically what happens is that he started sailing. He has no idea how to sail. He has no idea how to swim either. And for some reason, there's a whirlpool. He is like one of the most nonchalant persons ever. He's like, oh, well, it makes no sense to try and come out of the whirlpool. And I wish I could swim. And he's like, wait, even if I could swim, I would still be drowning in this whirlpool. So I might as well just go in it anyway. I'm already in it. And he just sat back, relaxed and chilled, went into the whirlpool. The boat obviously capsized. And we kind of fast forward just a little bit. And this guy named Kobe found him in a barrel, basically. He was rolling a barrel. It was kind of heavy. 3 bandits that working on this ship for this fat lady called Alvida. Don't know her full name, but her name is Alvida or Alvida. She has a club. She has a club. Like the baseball, but with spikes. The baseball, but with like spikes. And she was there talking, I don't know, bro. She mistreating everybody and she's so mean. Who's the fairest of who's the fairest of them all? Mirror, mirror on the wall. She didn't say the mirror, mirror part. But it was just so annoying. And in my head, I was just like, yeah, but I understand that she's probably going to be the first person that Luffy puts boot to ass to. But there's a very interesting character that came out of this like section of the book, Kobe. Just this little weird cowardice guy that, like, when I just started reading about him, I'm like, I hate this guy. I hate him because he's the type of friend that you'll have that you tell them a dream and they're like, nah, bro, you can't do it because only 5 people in the world has ever done this before and it's very hard to do this. Instead of saying, okay, how can we get to this goal? Or instead of saying, okay, I see that you have dreams, I'll pray for you. Be safe. Do what you have to do. Be safe. I'm here for you. If you need anything, I'm here. Kobe's like, no, you can't do this, you can't do this. And apparently he's afraid of this Alvida lady. And he's afraid of everybody, actually. He's just a flipping scaredy cat. So as I say, he's rolling the barrel. 3 of the pirates that work on the ship with Alvida, they're like, hey, they're like, what did you say? They said, yo, what's that? Kobe said, I don't know, but it's very heavy. It's probably liquor. They're like, okay, well, I guess we're going to enjoy this liquor right now. And he's like, so what about Alvida? They're like, Alvida is not going to know because we're going to enjoy this. And you're not going to tell her, right, Kobe? Kobe's like, no, I'm not going to tell her. Coward, bro. This guy's a coward. He's afraid of everybody. That's why you're going to be pushed over, bro. You're pissing me off. Anyway, sorry if I'm losing you guys, whatever. Maybe I'm going too slow. Maybe I'm chatting too much. I don't know. I don't even know if I still have you. If I still have you, just put 1 in the chat. I'll know what that means. But they proceeded to continue, and Luffy comes out of the bucket, and there is this little funny part where he's like, that was a good sleep. I can't believe I survived. And he's like, oh, who are you? And they're like, and then the guys, the 3 bandits are like, who are you? And they're just, I don't know. It was just funny. I don't know. And then something happened. Alvida probably, I don't know. She used the club and I don't know. She did something. And they kind of split. They were on the ship was docked on like this little island that I guess they were packing up supplies or raiding supplies or whatever the case may be. Luffy and Kobe end up like on the island while Alvida was there questioning the 3 guys that were on the ship. And it's like, I heard that you guys were over here taking sleep. Who the hell said, that was such a good sleep, blah, 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 blah. They're like, no, it's Kobe. Kobe sneaked on somebody. I guess they're covering their asses, So they're like, Kobe snuck somebody onto the boat. And it looks as if it's a pirate hunter. So they're like, it has to be pirate hunter Zolo. So I'm like, yo, I've heard about Zolo before. So that means that he's probably the next, crew member. But in my head, I'm like, it's not Zolo. unless there's a next person on the ship that I don't know about, you know. Cool. Anyway, we go to Luffy and Kobe, now they're talking. Kobe kind of gives his backstory how 2 years ago Alvida, I don't know, caught him, and ever since then, because he's a scaredy cat and can't stand up for himself, she basically has him on the ship working for her for the last 2 years or so, 2 or 3 years, I'm not sure. I don't remember the finer details like that. And he has dreams and aspirations, but he'll never amount to anything because he's too afraid. He doesn't know to stand up for himself, and whatever the case may be. Now, this was actually quite interesting because, you know, Luffy was there kind of he was moving very nonchalant, but you can tell that he's stupid, but he's smart. I don't know how to explain it. It's like he's stupid on the surface level, but you can tell, like, one, he has a good heart, and two, if he's an excellent reader of personality based on what I've read so far, and he's genuinely like a freedom fighter. It's like he basically liberates everybody that's around him. I don't know how to explain it. So it's like, argument's sake, basically what happens is that Alvida comes eventually and comes swing and huff and puff and whatever, and talk about how she's the baddest pirate and she worth this amount of money. I think she gave her a bounty, I'm not sure. And how, this is not Zolo, so I don't have to worry about it, blah, blah, blah. And long story short, Kobe, because Luffy told him that, hey, you have to go grow a set eventually, or not, who cares, you know. And Kobe has his funny moments, because it's like, he's like, Luffy, you think I can do this? Like, you think I can become a marine? You think I can become this? You think I can become that? And Luffy's like, I don't know. Can you? And he's like, you're right. I can become a marine, and I'm going to become a marine. And next time I see Alvida, I'm going to say this. And I'm just like, bro, bro, this guy is actually hilarious. Like, I hated you before, but I hate you just a little bit less now, because you're kind of showing a little bit of guts. But I need to see you show me some more, because at the same time, that could just be all talk and no action, because you're just talking a tough talk because Alvida is not around. So lo and behold, we're about to test the metal, bro. So she actually came around, and he basically, I thought he was gonna do some simp shit where he was gonna get up and be like, because she asked him, Kobe, I'm gonna give you another chance. Who's the fairest of them all? I thought he was gonna be like, you Miss Alvida, or Lady Alvida, or my lady, or whatever you want to call. Nah, he was like, you are the ugliest piece of shit in the world, and I hate you, you're fat on you. He didn't say all of that, but he basically stood up for himself, and she swung off for him, and Luffy defended him, and Luffy just kind of, Luffy dealt with her wicked. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Like, Luffy said, hey, equal rights and equal lefts, bro. He was putting belt, boot, hat, sandals to ass. That's all I'll say. Another thing is that she actually hit Luffy in the head, and it's on the straw hat. It's a straw hat, so technically it's supposed to be torn, right? But anyway, she hit Luffy on the head, and he looked up and smiled and said, that didn't hurt me, I'm Robo. And everybody's like, what is he? He must have had a devil fruit, blah, 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 which, you know, we already knew that from a long time ago. So that was it's kind of setting the precedence that devil fruits are very much more OP than to just be an average human. So that's good to know. Anyway, we continue the story now. He then asks the remaining pirates on the board, it's like, yo, give us a boat, because we're gonna bring Kobe to the naval base, or the navy base, because he wants to join the navy. You know, that's like the police force essentially, and as you can tell, it's definitely corrupt, but we're gonna get into that. He wants to join the navy. They gave him a boat. They ended up on this island. I think that's the Orange Town. I guess that's why we're talking about Orange Town. And he heard that, well, before that, they were actually, I guess, sailing together, and he was like, hey, I heard that they locked up this pirate hunter, the most demonic guy on the planet. His name is Pirate Hunter Zolo. And, you know, the way they were selling him, I'm like, yeah, it's so obvious that this guy is not gonna be what it turned out to be, because the mere fact that I had already anticipating that the navy or the naval base or whatever you want to call them was corrupt. Now, since if the navy is corrupt, that means that there's a high chance that Zolo is a good person, which means that even though I kind of already get spoiled about this Zolo person, it means that he's obviously going to join the crew. You get me? So we go to it now, and, you know, they went into this restaurant, they're eating food. I don't even know if they paid for it, bro, because I've never seen Luffy with money before, but fine. Maybe Kobe had money. Man, maybe he stole it from Alvida's ship. I don't know, I don't care, you know. And they're in the restaurant, and he's like, yo, I need to go find this Zolo person. And the whole place start gasp and move away. They're like, so it's like he said something taboo. And then he said, I'm going to join the Navy. Or no, he said, Captain Morgan, apparently that's like the leader of the Navy right there. The captain makes sense of the Navy base or that's there, and the whole place met the same reaction that they made for Zolo. So my theory was coming true that I was like, yo, one of these are wrong. Either Captain Morgan, either Captain Axon Morgan, which we're gonna get into that soon, is very corrupt, or Zolo is actually a demonic person. So anyway, they saw him. He looks badass. I ain't gonna lie to you. He's actually like hung up, like Jesus was hung up on the cross, basically have on a black bandana and I think like black pants or whatever the case may be. And apparently he's been there for 9 days straight, and he's supposed to last a month. That's a lot without eating. And Luffy goes over to him and says, hey, I actually came over here to see if see if you're kind of worthy to join my club. No, see if I wanted you to join my crew. And he's like, I'm not going to join no pirate. Pirates are scum. And he's just like, but I heard you're a pirate hunter. That doesn't make you any better, because technically you're still, you're a killer. You're like an outlaw. He's like, I don't care. And I'm going to last this 30 days and leave me alone, blah, 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 blah. This kid comes with some rice cakes and she offers them to Zolo. Zolo is acting as if, oh, he doesn't want it beat or he's going to kill her, whatever. I'm just like, yeah, I'm not buying this, bro. I'm not buying this. Why are you? I'm not buying this, Long story short, this helmet-looking guy, and the reason why I remember his name is because he looks like a helmet to me. Helmepo, probably. Helmepo, he's the son of Captain Axon Morgan. He came, tasted one of the rice cakes, said that it tasted funny because it was made with sugar instead of, I've never had a rice cake before, so I don't know what it tastes. Made with sugar instead of salt and whatever the case may be. He basically kicked it and he told the Navy soldier to throw this girl, because you're not supposed to be helping the prisoner. He told him to throw this girl over the wall. I was like, my brother in Christ, are you actually going to listen to this coward? And they did. They threw her over the wall. Luckily, Luffy caught her, but that's crazy. First of all, how are you even that strong? Second of all, why would he do that? Like, you're the Navy. I don't get it. You're the Navy. You're supposed to be the law and order. So that's when I was like, yeah, I already know where this chapter is gonna go. I know that Zolo is definitely gonna join the crew. Long story short, though, Luffy went back over there, and when he realized that Zoro was definitely a good person, like Zolo. I think it's supposed to be Zoro. Everybody says it's Zoro, but I'm seeing Zolo in the book, so I'm just gonna go with Zolo. But I might interchange between the two because it's the same thing. You know who I'm talking about. Anyway, basically what happens is that he ended up eating the rice cake that was on the ground. It was very interesting. It was mostly dirt and less of rice or cake. Well, rice cake is just, anyway, there's no cake in it. It's just caked up because it's right. Anyway, I am so sorry. Basically what happened after that is that, he ate it and like, Luffy was like, yeah, this guy might actually be like cool, And he then went back to the bar and he overheard Helmeto, son of Axon Morgan, talking about, oh, he's going to execute Zoro in 3 days, whatever. Luffy went up to him and said, I thought you said that he was supposed to last a month, whatever. He's like, nah, I caught him and you have to kill demons like these. I was never going to honor that guy. I'm killing that guy, Luffy literally shot that man a hot box and start punching him up, and then he ran away and go tell his father. In the meanwhile, I met one of the coolest design looking person ever, bro. I wish I could show you it. Like, let me show you, because I'm actually close to it. What's going on? It's actually one of the coolest designs I've ever seen in my life. Like, I don't know how a character can look this cool. I don't think you understand why I said that, like, he looks cool. Look at it, this is the character. It's a man that has an axe hand. I don't think you understand. He has an axe hand. Like, you can literally see the axe stick coming out of his elbow, and then up here is an axe. And then he has this nice metallic thing. He just looks so badass. In my head, I'm just like, yo, these people really put time and effort into drawing these things. Apparently, he was supposed to name Mr. Chop or Captain Chop, because Oda put it in like this little part of it that he's like, hey, the original name that I had for him was XYZ. And I'm just like, yo, this is so interesting. Like, I'm only on volume 1 and all of this is very interesting. Maybe I'm just easy to please, I don't know. And this is just basically Luffy gathering his crew, if you get what I'm trying to say. This is just Luffy basically like we haven't even reached like a proper part of the story, but we're still seeing current, or we're seeing consistent themes of Luffy freeing people, Luffy being an excellent judge of character, and like a proper story building. I can understand why this anime is so long, because there's so much going on and there's so much that you need to cover. And even then, even now, I'm still left asking so many different questions, you know. Basically, long story short, we saw this Captain Axon Morgan guy. We're gonna skip over most of this because, you know, but there was this night at the fight scene that happened, which was, I'll say that this guy is very corrupt, because they were putting up a statue. He's very cocky. Putting up a statue of himself with the tributes that he got from the people. You're not supposed to be getting tributes if you're the Navy, if you're the police, but fine. Tributes, this must be Hunger Games or some crap like that, you know. And putting up the statue, one of the Navy of soldiers accidentally hit like him elbow or something of the statue on something, and it barely scratched, and he said, "Oh, sorry my lord, I'm gonna get it fixed." My guy literally slices him down with his axe, and I was like, yeah, this guy means business. I'm about to see what Luffy can do to this guy, you know what I'm saying? Long story short, I don't know, he then ordered one of the other soldiers to, I think, kill the little girl, shoot the little girl next time you see her, or whatever. And they're like, no, they're not going to do that. So then he was about to kill him, because he doesn't take subordination as whatever. He kills people. He put boots to ass, you know what I'm saying? He put axe to body, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not talking about the spray axe. Anyway, you know, Luffy ended up, because, you know, it's a robot thing. He has Gum Whip, Gum Pistol, and I think he has Gum Rocket, or I don't, Gum something. And basically he uses one of those things to reach up on top of the building, because, you know, he can stretch, so he basically stretches out his hand, reaches on top of the building, kind of overshoots himself, ended up breaking the statue, seeing El Mepo, because he then made a deal with Zoro to say, hey, he didn't even this is why I like Luffy, he didn't even tell Zoro that, hey, they're gonna kill you. He just said, hey, if I get you your sword, you have to be my crew member. Zoro was like, okay. Because Zoro didn't believe that Luffy, because he didn't see that he was a rubber man yet. Zoro didn't believe that Luffy was actually mad enough to go take on the whole of the Navy by himself. You know what I'm saying? He was like, wow, this guy's actually crazy. He's actually gonna do it. So anyway, he found Helmepo and he told him, hey, we need to get Zoro's sword. Where's Zoro's sword? Grab him and run and whatever. Axon Morgan now saw that there's somebody else inside of the yard that Zoro was being kept in. Realized it was Kobe. Kobe explained the entire situation to Zoro and tell him that, hey, Zolo, I need you to understand that Luffy is strong, but together both of you guys can get this done. And he's like, oh, why would I help a pirate? He's like, it's not like that, bro. They're lit. And he's like, oh, I just need to stay another month. He's like, no, Helmepo is actually gonna execute you in 3 days' time. Luffy heard that and beat his ass. That's the only reason why he's helping you right now. It's not about you joining the crew. Like, fine, yeah, he wants you in the crew. You know what I'm saying? He likes you, he wants you. And there's nothing you can do to stop it, but, you know what I'm saying? He explained it to him and he's just like, hey, this is what's gonna happen. And in my head, I'm just like, Zoro finally understand that, hey, Luffy's actually a good person. So Zoro is probably like, yo, if this is a pirate, how is he so nice? How is he so whatever and he's a pirate, you know? Anyway, long story short, basically what happens after that is that he gets up. Kobe's trying to untie him while Luffy's looking for the swords with Helmepo, whatever. It was so cool seeing that, you know, he was using Helmepo as a shield so that the Navy could shoot him, which, you know, the Navy low-key wanted to shoot him because they hate him and his father. Fierce. Anyway, basically, there's just so much going on. You think that there's more than one volumes I read and I only read one volume? Damn. But I'm almost finished though, just in case you've gotten bored, or maybe you've probably already clicked off anyway. Basically, Luffy saves him. They have this nice little fight scene. Zoro decided to be a part of his crew and call him captain, and we got this nice backstory. The backstory was actually while Kobe was there, you know. No, while they came down to shoot Kobe and Zoro, you know, and it was just very interesting because we got this whole backstory about there was this girl who always beat Zolo in swords, and he had the two-sword style at the time. They both promised to be one day become the best swordsman or swordswoman in the world, and apparently the next day she died, and Zolo got her sword, and Now he uses the 3-sword style, which in my head, when I saw it at first, I was like, okay, where does the 3rd sword go? But luckily I watched Naruto and I saw Killer Bee, so I knew that more than likely it was either gonna be like in his elbow, in his knee, or in his mouth. So I'm glad that it's in his mouth with, you know, which with the force that he's like swinging that sword with, theoretically, his teeth are probably the strongest part of his body at this point, because what the heck. But I digress. We move on to something else. They fought together, beat up Captain Axon Morgan and all the other people. You know, the town saved them, and this is a part where I said Luffy just keeps helping. He's the gift that keeps giving, because Luffy was seen with Kobe, the Navy would assume that he's also a pirate. So basically, when Luffy, they were eating their last meal, last supper at the restaurant, obviously there was a little conversation between like Zolo and Luffy, where it's like, hey, all right, so where's the rest of your crew? And he's like, I don't have any other crew yet. You're the first one. And I have a boat outside, showed him the boat. The boat's small. I said, Zolo's like, what did I just get myself into? But he's a man of his word, so he's not gonna back out. No, he knows that it's gonna be resolved, you know? Anyway, Zoro kind of explained to Kobe that, hey, they're probably not gonna take you in the Navy, because remember, Kobe's dream is to get into the Navy. I don't know if Luffy is just this big brain, high IQ person, but he got up and he's like, okay, you know, let's see what happens. And the Navy person came back and said, hey, we heard that you're pirates. We can't harbor pirates. We thank you for everything you did, but you have to leave the island. Luffy and Zolos get up and walk out. And then the Navy officer look on Kobe and say, hey, so you're not going to go with your friends? And Kobe there, because, you know, he's a coward. So Kobe there, shock up. Him can't say nothing. He's flabbergasted. Too stunned to speak. Basically, after that now, he asked Luffy, he's like, isn't that your friend? Luffy said, no. But he basically mentioned that, no, yeah, he said yes. I think he said yes. I don't want to misquote, but I think he said yes. And then he started talking about, oh, yeah, he actually worked as a pirate under Alvida for the last 2 years, and Kobe's having inner monologues with himself, and he punches Luffy. He grows a set and punches Luffy. And Luffy said, you should have never done that. And Luffy started fighting, but this whole time, what Luffy was doing was showing them that, hey, if I am fighting this guy, we cannot be friends. It was his way of showing them without saying it that Kobe and I aren't friends. You know what I'm saying? But by the time Zolo and Luffy reached the ship, he was like, Zolo said, I don't even know if I don't think they're gonna buy your acting. Kobe came anyway, because they took him into the Navy regardless. Kobe, you know, he's a beggar. He's gonna say, oh, I can't do anything, please just give me a chance, probationary period, I don't care. He basically came up and he's like, thank you, sir, Luffy and Zolo, or whatever the case may be, for helping, blah, blah, blah. All of a sudden, all of the Marines came and thanked him, because nobody liked Captain Axon Morgan, bro. Luffy freed Kobe. Listen to me. Freed Kobe. Freed Zolo. Freed the little girl. And freed the Navy from Captain Axon Morgan. You see the constant theme that we're seeing? He's just constantly liberating everybody. And I don't know if he's doing it on purpose or what. I don't know if just because, like, I feel like he just does things. But he seems so nonchalant and goofy. But he's doing such good things. Like, you can't just look at him like, oh, he's just this childish person. He's not. Everything he does kind of has meaning so far. And if that's the case, he's probably going to free every single crewmate that he has from something. That's what they're going to join. He's going to liberate every single one of them and they're going to join. Anyway, fast forward, they're on a ship. We get introduced to this girl named Nami, or Nami, probably. I don't know, one of them. I think it's Nami, because you don't have like a E or a Y, so it's just Nami, Nami. So anyway, they're talking about Nami. Coolest thing ever. She was on this abandoned ship with this nice looking treasure chest that looked whatever. 3 pirates that are under somebody named Buggy, Captain Buggy, apparently the most fierce, who we're actually going to see in the next volume. So I'm going to speak about it in the next volume. One of the most fierce pirates ever. They just came from, I don't know, scavenging or whatever the case may be, and they see her, and, you know, let's be real. They saw her, they saw that she looked good, and they're like, oh, wow, we're going to capture her, we're going to steal her treasure, we're probably going to kill her, I don't know, you know. And she's like, oh, please, you guys, am I dreaming? Like, she's playing the role perfectly. You can tell that she's definitely what's the word I'm looking for? She is she's something. I don't know what's the word. She's a proper manipulator, but that's not the word I'm looking for. She's definitely she's a burglar. Let's use burglar, bro. She's a burglar. Just know that she's very manipulative and she knows how to play her roles like perfectly. So that's something that I am definitely kind of like about. She's very cunning. She's very sly. Anyway, long story short now, she basically tricks them. She asks them for help. They can get the treasure on her chest, on her boat, whatever the case may be. They have a nice big boat. She have a small one. For some reason, all three of them have to come out of the boat. I don't know why. They came out of the boat. I don't know if they were greedy for the treasure. I don't know what it was. It's probably just greed. You know, Icarus flew too close to the sun. Less dumb. By the time they opened the chest, it took a little while to open, but then open the chest, they realized nothing was in there. All of their treasures on their boat that Nami already took up. Nami took the boat and left and said, oh, well, have fun. And then she predicted the weather, which has me thinking that she's either a meteorologist, she has powers, or she's gonna be the navigator. And the mere fact that she could navigate by herself, she's already better than Luffy and Zoro, who are navigating themselves right now to nowhere. They don't know where they're going. And the truth is, Zolo said that the only reason why he's even there is because he got lost. He was hunting somebody, a pirate, and he couldn't find his way back to his homeland. He probably doesn't even know where he lives at this point. You know what I'm saying? There's no GPS for him, and he can't navigate. So I think Nami is probably obviously going to become the navigator eventually. But she then says there's going to be some sort of storm in like the next whatever towards that area, and in like 5 seconds it happened. I don't know what kind of power she has. I don't know how amazing she is at reading the weather, but that's a skill that we need to probably talk about another time. I'll probably have to start making videos like prediction videos, or just videos about specific characters and speaking about like their attributes and how important they are to the story, because everybody seems like they're so nicely fleshed out, you know, and I can't wait to hear Nami's backstory whenever it comes. Probably come in volume 2, I don't know. But we then go to this next, I don't know, she likes to steal stuff. So she reaches the land. Luffy gets shot down because he was in the air on this bird. Buggy's people shoot him down. Apparently Buggy's a clown. That's quite funny. Shoot him down. He comes down right on top of where Nami was. Nami was escaping some of Buggy the Clown's other men. She stole some maps or treasure or whatever the case may be. And she then moved cunningly again and said, oh, thanks, boss. Thanks for saving me, because Luffy kind of fell right in front of them. So she was able to escape, and then they started basically going after Luffy, and Luffy just put boot to asses. And then he went over to Nami, and Nami kind of said, hey, you're pretty strong. Like, you know, we should team up and work together. And that's literally where the volume ended. And in my head, I'm just like, no, I'm so curious, because Zolo found the people who Nami led astray, and they got shot and shipwrecked and whatever, and he has them rowing, and I guess they know where they're going because they remember where Buggy is. So Zolo is eventually going to reach us. Nami just met Luffy, and now we're still haven't been introduced properly to this Buggy person as yet. So I know the next volume is going to answer like so many questions for me, and it's just so curious to see what happens next. So it's just very interesting. So imagine if I had read, or imagine if I had made a review of just the whole East Blue saga, right? For argument's sake. I don't know how long I've been speaking, but it's probably at least 30 minutes, probably. I don't know. Because I haven't even stopped talking. I haven't edited anything. I'm not going to edit anything. I'm just going to put this. And like, it's just crazy that like I've done all of that in just one take. And there's still things that I'm missing because I didn't even look at the book one time. Like the book that I literally had notes that I was supposed to speak of some things, but I think I covered most of it. I think I covered most of it. That's actually on this list. So I'm not going to complain about it, but yeah. I'm gonna start dropping as soon as I finish like a tone or whatever the case may be, because I saw the next one is I don't know what the other, but I'm gonna do wherever this is, and we're just gonna continue and go on, you know. Every single time I finish like something substantial, you know, I'll come and make a video about it and my review, and we can just chat it in the comment section. Even if it's just one of you guys I'm talking to, I'll just do it because I want to see how far I can reach in One Piece and see if we can catch up. Probably catch up by, I don't know, end of year or what. I'm joking, but probably by a year's time we'll probably catch up, you know, and then we can probably watch the anime, watch the live action. I don't know, but let me know if you enjoyed this video. Let me know if it was descriptive enough, you know. I definitely tried my best to be as straightforward as I possibly could, but you know, it is what it is. I'm out.